There's a feeling most people spend their whole lives running from, not because it's painful, but because it's quiet. So quiet that it forces you to hear everything you've been avoiding. And maybe, right now, you're finally ready to stop running. I used to think stillness was emptiness, that if I stopped moving, stopped doing, stopped filling every moment with noise and distraction, I would disappear into some kind of void. So I kept myself busy, kept my mind occupied, kept running from the one thing my soul was begging me to find, until one day, exhausted from all the running, I finally stopped. And what I found in that stillness wasn't emptiness. It was fullness, a presence so real, so tangible, that I realized I had been running from the very thing I needed most. And if you've been running too, if you've been afraid of what you might find in the quiet, maybe it's time to discover that stillness isn't the absence of something. It's the presence of everything that matters. Inner stillness isn't something you achieve. It's something you allow. It's not a destination you arrive at after years of meditation or spirit practice. It's a space that's always been there, waiting for you to notice it, waiting for you to stop long enough to feel it. And the reason most people never experience it isn't because they're not spiritual enough or disciplined enough. It's because they're terrified of what they might discover in the silence. Because stillness has a way of revealing things. It shows you the anxiety you've been masking with productivity, the loneliness you've been covering with constant connection, the emptiness you've been filling with endless consumption and entertainment. It strips away every distraction until all that's left is you and the truth. And that can be terrifying. So we run. We feel our callousness. We scroll endlessly. We keep the TV on in the background. We make sure we're never truly alone with ourselves. Because somewhere deep down, we're afraid that if we stop, if we truly become still, we'll find nothing there. But what if the opposite is true? What if the reason we're so afraid of stillness is because we sense somewhere in our souls that it's where we'll finally find everything we've been searching for? The peace that doesn't depend on circumstances, the clarity that cuts through confusion, the love that doesn't require performancy, the presence of God that's been there all along, waiting in the quiet. Inner stillness feels like coming home to yourself, like finally setting down at, wait, you didn't realize you were carrying, like exhaling after holding your breath for years. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It's subtle, gentle, like a whisper that you can only hear when everything else goes quiet. And once you feel it, once you taste that stillness, you realize that all the noise you've been living in isn't just unnecessary. It's been keeping you from the very thing your soul has been crying out for all along. We live in a world that worships motion, that measures worth by productivity. That tells you if you're not constantly moving, constantly achieving, constantly posting and sharing and building and growing, then you're falling behind. And so you move, you hustle, you grind, you optimize every moment. You turned your life into a never-ending checklist of things to do, and goals to achieve, and standards to meet. And somewhere in all that motion, you lose yourself because you can't hear your own voice anymore. Over the noise of all the demands, you can feel your own heart anymore. Under the weight of all the expectations, you can't sense God's presence anymore. Through all the static and distraction, and the exhaustion becomes your normal. The anxiety becomes your baseline. The feeling that you're never doing enough, never being enough, becomes the soundtrack of your life. But here's what nobody tells you. All that motion isn't making you more alive. It's making you numb. It's not filling you up. It's hollowing you out. Because you were never meant to live at this pace. You were never designed to carry this much, do this much, be this much for this many people all at once. Your soul needs stillness the way your lungs need air. It's not optional. It's not a luxury for people who have their lives together. It's essential. It's survival. And when you finally give yourself permission to be still, even for just a moment, you feel it. The weight starts to lift. The noise starts to fade. And underneath all of that, underneath the chaos and the pressure and the constant motion, there's something that's been waiting for you all along. A peace that doesn't make sense. A calm that isn't dependent on your circumstances being perfect. A stillness that holds you even when everything around you is falling apart. And you realize this is what you've been searching for in all the doing and achieving and performing. This is what you've been trying to earn through all the effort and striving. But it was never something you had to earn. It was always something you just needed to receive. By being still, by stopping, by finally letting yourself rest in the presence of the one who's been there all along, waiting for you to notice. Stillness is a mirror, and not the kind that shows you what you want to see. The kind that shows you what's actually there. When you first enter into stillness, into real silence and solitude, it can feel uncomfortable, unsettling, because suddenly you're confronted with everything you've been avoiding. The unresolved grief you never processed, the anger you never expressed, the fear you never acknowledged, the dreams you abandoned, the parts of yourself you've been hiding even from your own awareness. And your first instinct is to run, to turn the noise back on, to fill the space with something, anything, so you don't have to feel what's coming up. But if you stay, if you breathe through the discomfort and let the stillness hold you, something shifts. What felt like exposure starts to feel like honesty. What felt like vulnerability starts to feel like strength. What felt like falling apart starts to feel like coming back together. Because stillness doesn't just reveal your wounds, it reveals your wholeness. It shows you the parts of yourself that the noise has been drowning out, the wisdom you've been ignoring, the intuition you've been overriding, the voice of God you've been too busy to hear. In stillness, you remember who you are beneath all the roles and responsibilities. You remember what you actually want, not what everyone else wants from you. You remember what matters, what's real, what's true, and maybe, most importantly, in stillness, you encounter God not as a concept or a doctrine, but as a presence, real, intimate, closer than your own breath, not the distant deity you have to perform for or prove yourself to, but the one who's been with you all along, in every moment, waiting for you to be still. Enough to notice, stillness reveals that you've never been alone, never been unloved, never been forgotten. Even your darkest moments, even in your greatest failures, even in the places you're most ashamed of, His presence has been there, constant, unwavering, patient, waiting for you to stop running and turn around and see that He's been walking with you the entire time. Learning to be still isn't about adding something to your life. It's about letting go of the need to control everything, letting go of the belief that your worth is measured by your productivity, letting go of the fear that if you stop, everything will fall apart, letting go of the performance, the pretending, the constant need to prove yourself to people who may never be satisfied anyway. And this letting go isn't easy. It's not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice, a moment-by-moment choice to release your grip on things that were never yours to hold in the first place, because we've been taught to hold on, to grip tight, to make things happen through sheer force of will and effort and relentless determination. We've been conditioned to believe that rest is laziness, that stillness is stagnation, that if we're not constantly striving and pushing and climbing, we're somehow failing at life. But what if the opposite is true? What if the most powerful thing you can do is stop trying so hard? What if the breakthrough you've been working for only comes when you finally release your grip and let God work in the stillness? What if everything you've been forcing is actually preventing the very thing you're trying to create? There's a verse that says, "In quietness and trust is your strength, not in hustle, not in grinding until you're burned out and empty, not in pushing and forcing and making things happen through sheer willpower. In quietness, in trust, in the stillness where you finally admit that you can't do this on your own. And you don't have to. When you practice stillness, you're not just resting your body, you're retraining your soul. You're teaching yourself a completely different way of being in the world. You're learning that your value doesn't come from what you produce, that God's love isn't contingent on your performance, that you are enough exactly as you are right now in this moment, even if you never accomplish another thing for the rest of your life. And that's revolutionary in a world that's constantly telling you you're not enough, that you need to be more, do more, have more, achieve more to matter. Stillness says you already matter. You always have. Not because of what you do, but because of who you are. Because you are loved. Because you are seen. Because you are held by a God who doesn't measure your word by your achievements, but by His unchanging, unconditional love for you. So you let go